Okay, so now we're going to talk about what's going on in the second closing, or the second part of the transaction of the Morby method. Okay. So what we have to, going back to kind of what we had worked on before, right now there's $400,000 sitting in escrow. And how are we going to disperse it? This is actually the disbursement. Closing. So of the $400,000, this is how it is going to be dispersed among the parties. So we went back to our sources and uses. So now we have the sources, it's in the escrow, and it's going to be dispersed. It's going to be how we're going to use that. So the first is $120,000, and that is going to go to the transactional lender or the private money lender. The second one is going to be $280,000. And that is going to be given directly to the seller, effectively. The question is, of that 280, how are we going to do it? So how are we sending seller the money? So of the 280 that we had, we know he needed 160K cash. So escrow gives him 200 in that, and that would leave $120,000. But this is real cash. Okay, he got that money here. Okay, it's how he gets the money. So now what we're saying is that, so he's paid cash. We're going to basically add 40K for us. This goes to the buyer. And so at the end of the day, he now gets a note for the 160 to the seller. And so the seller effectively gets $160,000 in raw cash. He gets a note for $160, and we pay off the lender. So at the end we get the $40, but we get $40,000 to put in our pocket, either to close the transaction for us to do the deal. It doesn't really matter at that point. So this is this to seller, and then this is the note to seller. So this and this is to the seller. This is to us, the buyer. And the transactional party has also been paid off. So we are basically doing it. And how do we take it? Well, you can look, but it's probably going to be in the form of an LLC or a trust. Between the seller and the buyer, with all of the beneficial interest going really to the buyer. So the title company doesn't have to close this portion of it. So this is going to be accomplished with, we know this right here, there's going to probably be a promissory note. And a promissory note is so simple. It is basically a promise to pay. It is no simpler than what you really have is a dollar bill. A dollar bill is a promise to pay, plus a deed of trust. And so, because the transfer of the property into the LLC, it doesn't matter which phase of it really does, but you have to have these two elements right now to basically secure that seller debt by the buyer, the LLC, and the deed of trust basically records who now owns the property. So that's basically the Morby system in a nutshell for a very simple explanation of how it really could work. It can work on a lot of other things. And in fact, if you would like, I'll probably do one more example doing maybe even a larger project and see what we can do there. And that way you could do it for multifamily. But for this right now, it's about a $400,000 transaction. So I think that should be pretty clear. Okay.